You swing. The ball launches, and you watch it land exactly where your drive landed 3 years ago, except this time it's 5 yards shorter. You tell yourself it's age. You tell yourself your swing speed is dropping, your body is changing, and this is just the natural contract of getting older. But there's a different contract at work here, one you never signed. The golf ball itself has been costing you yards, not your joints, not your technique. A white, dimpled $3 piece of equipment that was engineered to fail you the moment you turn 60. The common belief sounds reasonable enough. After 60, swing speed declines. Softer compression balls feel better, launch higher, and protect against the sting of a cold morning. Losing distance is inevitable. Every golfer over 50 has heard this from a playing partner, a pro, or their own quiet resignation. The industry reinforces it. Walk into any pro shop and the senior rack is filled with 50 compression balls, low compression cores, bright pastel colors, and marketing copy that talks about feel and control and for the smoother swing. Not one box says, "This ball will cost you 10 yards because we designed it for a swing speed you don't have." Here's what the evidence shows. The average swing speed for a male golfer aged 60 to 69 is still 78 miles per hour. That number comes from a TrackMan study analyzing over 54,000 swings across every age bracket. 78 miles per hour is enough to fully compress a 70 compression ball. That's a standard mid-compression ball, a Titleist Tour Speed, a Callaway Warbird, a Srixon Q-Star. Yet most golfers in that age bracket are playing a 50 compression ball designed for swing speeds around 40 to 50 miles per hour. The mismatch is not subtle. It's a 10-yard penalty on every drive, baked into the urethane cover. That's a 10-yard leak you didn't know existed. If that fact unsettles you the way it should, subscribe, because we're just getting started on the equipment traps engineered into your bag. In the comments, type 10 yards if you're ready to test your own ball compression this weekend and see what you've been leaving behind. Consider the physics. A golf ball's compression rating measures how much it deforms under load. A 70 compression ball requires about 170 pounds of force to compress it 3 millimeters. A 50 compression ball deforms with roughly 130 pounds. When a 78 mile per hour swing delivers about 160 pounds of force at impact, the 50 compression ball overcompresses. It squishes too much. Energy that should launch the ball forward is absorbed into the core as heat and wasted deformation. The ball doesn't spring back, it flattens and drags. The result is lower ball speed, higher spin, and a launch that balloons instead of penetrates. Now take that same 78 mile per hour swing and put it behind a 70 compression ball. The ball deforms exactly to its designed limit. The core rebounds efficiently. Spin rates drop by roughly 300 to 400 RPM. Launch angle stabilizes. Ball speed increases by 1 to 2 miles per hour. Multiply that by driver efficiency and the math produces roughly 10 to 12 additional yards of carry. Not roll. Not wind-aided. Pure carry distance that was already in your swing. The ball was just refusing to release it. If you've ever stood on the 10th tee after a promising front nine, pulled out a fresh sleeve, hit a drive that felt perfect, and watched it land 15 yards short of where your front nine drives landed, you know that quiet pinch in your chest when the equipment betrays you, not your body. That was compression mismatch. The fresh sleeve was 50 compression because the pro shop only stocked senior options. The front nine drives were 70 compression from an older box you found in your bag. The ball changed, your swing didn't. The industry knows this. The USGA and R&A have tested compression limits since the 1940s, and modern manufacturing allows balls to be tuned to within 1 or 2 compression points. But the marketing machine prefers segmentation. Low compression balls have higher margins because they use cheaper core materials and simpler manufacturing processes. They're also easier to produce in bright colors that attract the senior demographic. The real engineering advantage, The precision core layering that preserves ball speed on off-center hits goes into the mid and high compression models. The same 78 mph swing that would benefit from triple layer construction gets funneled into a two-piece senior ball that was designed for your grandfather. Here's the part most golfers miss. Compression isn't just about total speed, it's about consistency. A 70 compression ball launched with a 78 mph swing produces a spin axis that stays closer to the club face angle. The 50 compression ball, because it overcompresses, introduces random spin axis tilt, meaning your fade turns into a slice on one swing and a straight push on the next, even though you made the same motion. The distance loss isn't the only penalty. The dispersion penalty adds another 5 to 7 yards of effective distance loss when you factor in the extra lateral movement that forces you to aim more conservatively. Now, consider this. Golfers over 60 who switched to a correctly compressed ball in a blind test conducted by Golf Laboratories in 2021 gained an average of 11.3 yards of carry distance over their previous senior ball. The test included 43 male golfers aged 61 to 74, each hitting 10 drives with their current gamer and 10 with a 70 compression ball matched to their actual swing speed. Not one golfer lost distance. Every single participant gained at least 6 yards, 11.3 yards. That's the difference between a 7-iron and a 9-iron approach. That's a one-club gap that requires no swing change, no lesson, no new driver. Just a different box on the Pro Shop shelf. 11.3 yards with no swing change, that's not an opinion, it's a measurement. If this resonates with you, there's a lot more where this came from. Link in the description. Subscribe to keep uncovering the quiet contracts the industry writes without your signature. And in the comments, write ball change if you're willing to swap one box before your next round and see what happens. The contract you signed was quiet. It said, as your body changes, accept less. The industry stamped it and called it a product line. But the evidence reverses that contract. The body isn't the variable that moved first. The ball moved, the ball was engineered to underperform for your swing, then sold to you as a solution for aging. The real solution isn't softer, it's smarter. It's a 70 compression ball with a urethane cover that spins enough to hold greens but doesn't waste your driver energy into heat and side spin. The mechanism is simple. Take your average driver swing speed, measured at a simulator or guessed honestly from your last 3 rounds. If it's above 72 mph, you are overcompressing any ball rated below 65. If it's above 76 mph, you need a ball rated at least 70. If it's above 82 mph, and many active 70-year-olds still swing at that speed, you should be playing a 75 or 80 compression tour ball. The compression scale exists for a reason. Ignoring it costs yards on every full swing. Let me be specific about the numbers. A Titleist Pro V1 has a compression rating of roughly 87. A Pro V1X is around 95. A TaylorMade TP5 sits at 84. These are not balls for young players only. They are balls for swing speeds above 85 mph. But there's a middle range that most golfers skip entirely. The Bridgestone Tour BRX has a compression of 68. The Wilson Staff Duo Urethane is 70. The Srixon Q-Star Tour is 72. These balls are engineered for swing speeds between 72 and 85 mph, exactly the range where most 60-plus golfers live. They provide tour-level spin control around the greens without the excessive firmness of a 100 compression ball. They are the forgotten category, and they are the most efficient distance upgrade available for under $4 per ball. If you've ever stood at the practice green, rolling putts with a 50 compression ball that felt too soft off the face, and wondered why your short game didn't translate to the course, that's the same mismatch. Wedge spin drops by roughly 500 to 800 RPM when the ball overcompresses on a partial swing. The ball skids instead of bites. The feel you trusted on the practice green is different from the feel on a real green because the fresh ball is overcompressing on full swings and undercompressing on short ones. The inconsistency is built in. the ball is working against you on both ends of the bag. Now, here's what changes everything. The distance gain from correct compression is permanent. It doesn't fade as the ball ages because the compression rating is a material property, not a coating. A 70 compression ball that's been sitting in your garage for 2 years will still outperform a new 50 compression ball from the same shelf. The degradation of golf balls over time is mostly cosmetic: scuffs, dirt, moisture absorption, not structural compression loss. So the fix costs you nothing beyond the initial purchase. No recurring fee, no annual upgrade, just one decision at the point of sale. The deeper mechanism is psychological. Manufacturers know that golfers over 60 are the fastest growing demographic in the sport. They also know that this demographic is more brand loyal and less likely to experiment with equipment. So the strategy is to segment by age, not by swing speed. The senior line captures the loyalty and the performance line captures the speed. The golfer who would benefit most from a 70 compression ball never tries it because the packaging says tour or performance, words that feel intimidating to someone who just wants to enjoy their Saturday round. The marketing creates a class divide inside your own bag, and you pay the yardage penalty. The industry segmented you by age, not swing speed, and you paid the yardage penalty every round. Subscribe to arm yourself with the data before you buy anything else. In the comments, tell us the compression rating of the ball you're currently playing. Find it on the box and type the number. Let's see how many of us are in the wrong tier. The counter principle is straightforward. Ignore the packaging. Read the compression rating printed on the box. Most major brands now list it clearly. Match it to your measured swing speed. If you don't have access to a simulator, use the self-diagnostic test. Hit your current ball and a known 70 compression ball off the same tee with the same club and watch the flight window. The 70 compression ball should launch slightly lower with a more stable apex. If your current ball balloons, you're over-compressing. If the new ball feels too firm, you're under-compressing. The test takes 3 swings. The result compounds across every full shot for the rest of your round. This is the part most people miss. The golf ball is the only piece of equipment that touches every single shot. It's also the cheapest to replace. A driver upgrade costs $500 and often delivers 2 to 3 yards of measurable gain. A compression-correct ball change costs $30 for a dozen and delivers 10 to 12 yards. The ratio is not close. The industry wants you to buy the driver because the margins are larger, the marketing is louder, and the upgrade cycle is shorter. The ball change is a one-time correction. The driver change is a recurring subscription to new technology that moves the goalpost every season. $30 for a dozen balls versus $500 for a driver. The math is not close. Yet the industry wants you to ignore it. Subscribe if you want to keep finding these ratio shifts in every piece of gear you own. And in the comments, share your biggest "wait, that's all it took" moment from your own bag. The fix that cost pennies and saved yards. If this opened something for you, the realization that your body wasn't the first thing to change, that the ball was engineered to fail at your swing speed, then you already know what comes next. The same mechanism applies to every club in your bag. The shaft flex, the lie angle, the grip size. The golf industry has built an entire system on making you believe that the equipment is fine and the problem is you. But the evidence tells a different story. The ball was the first leak. The rest of the bag is just more holes waiting to be sealed.
Financing package makes the premium
Here's the
model
truth
quite
that ties
accessible.
all of this together. A 78 mile per hour swing produces roughly the same ball speed as a 25-year-old golfer swinging at 60 miles per hour. The difference in distance comes almost entirely from launch conditions and compression efficiency. You don't need to swing faster. You need to stop swinging a ball that refuses to accelerate. Between 72 and 85 miles per hour, where most golfers over 60 actually swing, the entire industry's senior category is a marketing fiction. The real performance tier starts at 70 compression, and you've been leaving those yards on the tee box for years without knowing why. If this hit you the way it hit me when I first ran the numbers, consider this a permanent upgrade. Save it in your notes. Reference it the next time you stand in front of the Pro Shop shelf, staring at the bright pastel sleeves on the senior rack. The ball that will give you your yards back is on the next rack over. It costs the same. It says tour speed or performance or something that feels like it's for someone younger. But the only thing that matters is the compression number, and that number has been waiting for your swing speed this entire time.